Hey there, in this video I will show you how to cut this simple but stylish shirt dress for ladies. So here are the materials I will be using for this project. I have the actual fabric and this lining. The reason I decided to line this garment is because the fabric has this net and see-through thing going on with it, and I am so certain that my client cannot wear it like that. Anyway, I have folded the lining in two. Next, I am rolling a border line, more like straightening the edge of the fabric. Now, from this border line, I will measure 2.5 inches and then roll that across. You will understand the necessity for this line later, but for now it will serve as the shoulder line, from which I will measure all the vertical lines. First, I measure the shoulder to bust, which is 12 inches. Next, I measure shoulder to waist, which is 18 inches for my client. And next, the shoulder to hip, which is 23 inches. I will measure and roll that across. And then I will roll the hemline, leaving about 1 inch as hem allowance. Now that I am done with that, I will proceed to measure the horizontal measurements. My client's hip measurement is 43, but I will add 1 inch to make it 44. Then I divide this measurement by 4, and that gives me 11 inches. I will add 2 inches, mark that on the hip line, and since this is the widest measurement, I will extend same measurement to the hemline. Next, using my French curve, I will connect the hip point to the waist point like so. Then I will connect the waist point to the bust point like so. Now, from the bust line, I will mark 1 inch above, and I will mark that and roll it across, and this will be the new bust line. Then on the shoulder line, I will divide my client's shoulder measurement into 2. In this case, it is 18 inches divided by 2, and that gives 9 inches. I will measure same 9 inches on the bust line and roll a straight line like so. Now for the back neckline, I will be using 3.5 inches wide by 1.5 inches deep. Now, using the French curve, I will connect the neckline like so. Now, I come down by 1 inch on the shoulder point and then roll the shoulder slant, joining the new shoulder point to the neckline like so. After the shoulder slant is rolled, I will measure the distance from the new shoulder point to the new bust line. What I have is 10 inches. I will divide that into 2 and mark 5 inches. Now, I will join the armhole, connecting the marks like so. And it is time to add ½ inch sewing allowance to the armhole, shoulder line and the neckline as well. Now that all this is done, I will add 1 inch more to the shoulder line. The reason is because I want the shoulder point to fall 1 inch beyond the shoulder tip, as it is typical of most male shirts. Now what this means is that since I have added 1 inch to the back shoulder line, I will have to deduct 1 inch from the front shoulder line. I will deduct 1 inch to balance it. You will get to understand the reason when I cut the front part of the garment. So now that I have added the 1 inch extra, I will cut. And that's it. The back of the garment is ready. Now it's time to cut the front of the garment. So I will use the back of the garment to cut the front by simply laying the already cut out back part onto a folded fabric like so. Anyway, first things first, I will fold down this extra 1 inch I marked on the back to avoid any form of confusion. Then I will measure the front neckline. I marked the neck point using the back neck point as my guide. Then I ruled the neckline curve. So basically I used 3.5 inches for the width and 3.5 inches for the depth. After establishing the front neckline, it is time to roll the shirt placket. First, I ruled a straight line to establish the center front line. Then I added sewing allowance to the front neckline. So now the neckline is ready. Next is to measure the placket, and for this shirt dress I measure 2 inches and I will add ½ inch to the top like so. Then I will measure and rule a 2 inches wide line from the center front neck point to the hem line like so. Now I will measure 1 inch downwards. Remember that 1 inch extra I added on the back shoulder line? I will deduct it here and mark it so that it is balanced at the hem. So now I will go ahead and cut, and it's on this point I will be cutting on. Just to be clear, on the back shoulder I added 1 inch extension, but for the front I am deducting same 1 inch. Oops, I almost forgot this step. Remember when I was creating the back armhole, I marked the midpoint of the armhole. Now on the front armhole, from that midpoint I will measure ½ inch inwards because the front armhole is meant to be deeper than the back armhole. So now I will rule a curve connecting the underarm point to this newly adjusted point like so, and I will go ahead to cut. The trick to this style of cutting is to add all sewing allowances accordingly from the start, so there is no confusion about all these plus or minus cutaway adjustments later on. So now I am cutting out the front of the garment like so. I notch the placket and I proceed to slit it like so. Now that I'm done cutting the lining, it's time to cut the fabric. I simply lay the fabric on the table, smoothing it out, place the lining on the already laid fabric, and I go ahead to cut. And now it's time to cut the sleeve for this project. I don't want to bore you with a very long video, so I have this very detailed but straightforward sleeve tutorial on my channel. I'm sure it's showing somewhere on your screen right now, but I will also link it in the description box for ease of find. Kindly refer to that video to cut a very nice fitting basic sleeve for you or your client, as the case may be. I also have the simplest and easiest collar video tutorial on the channel. I will also link it in the description box, so if you want a shirt dress with a collar just like this, please go ahead to watch that video as well to cut a very nice fitting collar for your shirt. And please, if at any point you have any question for me regarding these tutorials, do not hesitate to drop them in the comment section for me. I will respond to them as soon as I can. Now, once I'm done cutting everything, it's time to take it to the sewing machine and then sew. And after sewing all together, here is the final result. The simple but stylish shirt dress is ready and it looks so beautiful. So guys, till the next time you'll be hearing from me, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and have yourself some fabulous time.